I am not ashamed to say that I love 80s music, always have, always will. Think it was the last big creative hurrah in the music industry. I got to see Michael Jackson arise out of nowhere, become a solo artist, become the king of pop. Prince, Madonna, you know, Bruce Springsteen becoming the megastar, Brian Adams becoming the megastar, Honeymoon Suite, Rush, um, you name it, I saw them. Glam Metal, I saw Bon Jovi explode. I saw Def Leppard come back from disaster to become triumphant and have one of the biggest selling albums in history. Whitesnake come out of nowhere and just sell millions of records. Saw all that, was there, saw the videos, bought the magazines, went to the shows. I had a great, great time there. So I'm going to talk about some of my favorite bands and some of the albums I think that kind of don't get the same love as the other albums do. And it's unfortunate because sometimes they came out with their stronger stuff later on in their career when, the landscape changed or the record label just didn't want to push them anymore and something happened and that album kind of failed or didn't do the amount I thought or the amount of sales I thought it would do or deserve to get. So my first choice is going to be 1990 excuse me 1992's Dog Eat Dog from Warrant. Their first two albums, Dirty Rotten Filthy Stinking Rich and Cherry Pie, both sold 2 million units each. So there was a lot of, expectations that this is going to be a million seller for sure. And now that you hear that they're getting more adventurous in their songwriting, it's going to be heavier. It's going to go against the Rats and the Motley Crues, and they're going to go toe to toe. And I thought they did. And I think they even were better than these guys. I thought Janie Lane really pushed his songwriting on here. You have kind of like the post-apocalyptic songs of April 2031. You have Machine Gun, which is a heavy rocker. You got Hole in My Wall, which is a sleazy rocker that would put Motley Crue to shame. Then there's, I think probably the strongest ballad I think they've ever done, and I call it the glam metal version of Bohemian Rhapsody because they mixed everything in there, and there's even a German operatic part in it, excuse me, and it works wonderfully. And every time I hear this song, I just scratch my head like, how the hell they put that together? I will never know, but it works wonders. This is a gem, but I think it came out at the wrong time. 1992 grunge had its grip over the video stations and radio stations, and I think the record label just said we're not going to invest money into things that people are not following anymore too much, and we're just going to go on the next bandwagon, which is grunge. And unfortunately, Dog Eat Dog was a casualty of the grunge movement, I think, and the lack of support from the record label. They had a gem of an album, and I believe it's Columbia at the time dropped the ball on this record, and they should be ashamed. They had something. They could have had a record they can revisit 100 times, remaster, find bonus tracks. Especially they could have milked it. Unfortunately, Janie Lane's passing, but I still go back to this album, and I still think this should have been a juggernaut. If Cherry Pie can sell two, this could have sold 4 million records. In if they were stuck, if grunge didn't come out at that time. So underrated gem, in my opinion. Do yourself a favor, search this out. You will not be disappointed. If you love the glam metal years like I did, and you thought Warrant was a little bit too fluffy, a little bit too light, this is where they kind of take that left turn and change their palette a little bit. Much more mature, much more darker, and a much more satisfying listen than their first two records. Although I still like the first two, this is the one that kind of went, Janie Lane, you're the man. Do yourself a favor, search it out. You will not be disappointed. This is Steven from the Aroundtable with my thoughts on an underrated gem of the 80s that needs a little bit more love, and it's Dog Eat Dog from Warrant. Be seeing you guys in the future.